welcome to Let's Talk Podcast. I'm very excited today. We have a special guest.
Thank you for inviting me. I love the topic. I'm going to say briefly, I was one of those women that had everything. 6 figures, houses, cars, everything. I was so independent that I told my husband we're going to get married. But sadly, I ran him to a young lady on public assistance.
I really ask all you guys that's on here, share. And I'm not saying share because I want my channel to blow up. Yes, I do want my channel to blow up.
I have everything. You know, look at me with everything. Money, cars, career. My mouth ran him to the roof.
You don't have to prove all them Negroes is good men.
I didn't say good men. I said that's the question.
Hey, bro,
no,
that don't let you know if they good men or not. I don't care if they're available.
That's a question. No, that's a question that the females ask. Where are all the men? That's their question. I didn't
No, they're asking where are the good men? We're the good ones. We're the loyal ones. And 51% don't prove nothing.
So the stat gives them a pool.
They don't prove
the
nothing.
stat gives them a pool. Let me finish the question. Let me answer. The stat gives them a pool.
Welcome to Let's Talk Podcast. We're so thankful and grateful for everybody that's here.
Great discussion and the stuff I've been listening to. I listen to this discussion every single day.
First of all, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Everyone, please like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend and tell a friend. You guys don't understand this. This woman is one of the hardest working women. I'm telling you, she is round the clock doing something. She juggles a lot. She has to juggle a lot, which is another one of her talents. She juggles. So with all the tasks that she has to do. So definitely, definitely. We want to go ahead and hit that algorithm because we actually do want the conversation to get out there.
Brand disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed by individuals on this platform, the callers plus invited guests, are their own. The information you hear does not reflect the overall views of all parties associated with this brand. We encourage everyone to research all things heard live or via archive for edification purposes. Discretion is advised.
Welcome to Let's Talk Podcast. I see some of y'all already in the building. Y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe. Come on, get it out there, share it to your friends, your family. I'm so glad you guys came today. Today, this topic, it means a lot to me. One, because me, myself, I'm on a journey to try and get fit, try and lose weight, try to be healthy. I'm getting older. And, when you're young, you're able to get away with a lot of stuff. And as you start to get older, you start to feel your joints popping and you can't do what you used to do. So due to that, I know that I need to get healthy. I need to get in shape. So I got some of the greatest speakers. One of our guests came on here last week and killed it. I mean, he killed it when we were talking about raccoons. And we're going to leave it at that because that word is just banned on YouTube. But he killed this. So y'all make sure y'all go to my channel and check him out. And then we got another sister on here. She's going to be our first time. This is her first time coming on the show. I'm excited, man. I seen her featuring on some other platforms. I checked out her social media. Very inspiring, very encouraging. She has her own personal way of doing things. And the evidence in her body, her figure, just everything that she's doing is evidence that she knows what she's doing. People call her the guru. Yeah, men and women. Yeah, they all love her. And I'm telling you guys, check out on that Facebook. You're going to start looking in the mirror like, Yeah, I gotta get it together because she was killing it. Them abs ain't no joke. But without further ado, I'm gonna introduce the guest. But before I introduce the guest, this is very, very important, just so everybody can have an understanding. We're talking about is soul food slave food, and the reason why we're calling it is soul food slave food is because most people on this platform and who's going to come later, you guys know soul food is full of fats and carbs and sugars and salts and everything else. And a lot of these things just aren't healthy for us. And a lot of time we can become obese. So one of the things I want to share with you guys was, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Minority Health, they say that African American women have the highest rate of obesity. They say that compared to other groups in the United States, so like Hispanic, Asian, and Caucasian, they're some of the most obese women in America. They say 4 out of 5 African American women are overweight or obese, including 37.1% of Black men in America are obese. So our community is obviously suffering from something. Okay, we could say it's soul food, we could say it's not soul food, we could say it's processed food, but today we're going to be focusing on soul food because we are getting overweight and we are obese. And what happens when you're overweight and you're obese? Being overweight or obese can have a serious impact on your health. Carrying extra fat leads to serious health consequences such as heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, even some cancers like breast and colon cancer. People don't even realize obesity has something to do with that. Even high blood pressure. Not just that, if you look up some of the number one causes of why people are losing their lives, the top 3 are heart disease, cancer, and stroke. Now, of course, you have COVID in there, but if we put COVID aside, these are the top 3 number one reasons that people are losing their lives. So this is a very serious conversation. We're not just having this conversation just to have it. People are literally every day losing their lives because what we're putting on our plate. Also, our activity levels and things like that all play a part as well. But mainly, we know what we put in our body is a big effect to our health. And obviously, we're losing our life because of that. But with that being said, I broke down everything to you guys. We're going to be bringing up our first guest. We got Mr. Blacktastic. He's been in ministry for 31 years. He's an activist and an educator about 31 years as well. His father was one of the earliest members of the Black Panther movement. No further ado, Mr. Blacktastic. What's up? What's up? What's up? Can't hear you. Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted.
Oh. I always forget about that.
All right, you good.
But shalom and grace and peace and assalamu alaikum and all those good things. Greetings to everybody.
What's up? Hey, everybody in the chat. Thank you, Mr. Blacktastic, for joining us. I'm really excited about getting into this conversation. The next up, we're going to be bringing up Shanti. Like I said, she's the first time. This is her first time on the show. We're very excited. She's from California. She's a speaker. She speaks and she formally teaches Hebrew. She was featured on Debate Talk for You, which is one of my favorite debate channels on YouTube. We're actually streaming live from there too. So everybody in Debate Talk for You, y'all hit those like, hit those subscribe. That's how I found out about Shanti, is through Debate Talk for You. She's looking forward to coming back and sharing some more positive and encouraging messages. She also has her own YouTube channel where she did a lot of teaching, the Hebrew language, and also some biblical teaching. Right now, she's on a little sabbatical. But when she comes back, she definitely want to start sharing some more encouraging and positive message for our people. And that was one of the reasons why she was interested in coming on when we reached out to her, is because she felt like this would be a perfect conversation for her to be a part of due to her history and things of that nature. No further ado, Shanti, what's up?
Hey, what's going down like Bobby Brown in the town? Sacramento, go Kings! You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Look, I like it. I like it.
That's
I like
what's
it.
up.
Hey, let me, I don't need no coffee after that. I thought I was going to need some coffee, but I'm good now. I'm good.
Right.
Look at Antoine. He's like,
hey, this California sunshine will wake you up. You know what I mean? Yeah, this California sunshine will wake you up.
They're at 3 o'clock. Okay, y'all. I'm at 6 o'clock. Okay, so
I see you, Antoine. I see you, Antoine. Hey, this is going to be the biggest upset. This is going to be the biggest upset ever. You know what I mean? Go Kings. You know what I'm saying? Light the beam. Light the beam. You know what I mean? Thank you for having me on, though, Sister Christina. Thank you for having me on.
I'm excited. I'm excited. You bringing the energy. You pump. That's what I like to hear. Yahushua always says, "What's up? Love the energy." So this person is loving the energy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, man. We got a lot of people in the chat. Hey, you guys, like, subscribe, share, like, subscribe, share. Now, I want to take a few minutes and just let each one of you guys introduce yourself to the people. Just a brief moment. I'll let you go first, Mr. Blacktastic. Introduce yourself to the people.
Shalom to everyone. I am Isaiah West, also known as Yeshaya Marav, which is the Hebrew translation of my name. But you know, on these YouTube streams, they call me Mr. Blacktastic. All right.
All right.
And
all right.
you know, I'm just glad to be a part of the podcast. Like Christina had said in my intro, that I've been in ministry for 31 years. And also being involved in education and other things, and also community activism, which I'm still very much a part of. And these types of topics and discussions are great things that I don't mind participating in because of the historical connection and aspect of it. But you know, Sister Shanti, that's my sis. We talk all the time offline. We talk every week, you know, sometimes multiple times throughout the day and several days during the week. And she's someone that I've also learned from, especially when it comes to the language, you know, and other things of that sort. You know, I got to get back to you and BA, which Christina knows, because, you know, he ain't been talking since that game ended last night.
He been quiet.
Yeah, you know, in our group chat, you know, he had a lot to say, but you know,
he quiet down. He quiet down.
Yeah.
I'm not a part of this. I'm just here. I just want you to know I'm just here. Okay, I'm not a part of this at all. Okay, I'm just here. Don't be sucking me into this. What's wrong with you?
So I said I was gonna poke at him today about that game last night, but yeah, that's my sis right there, man. That's family to me. You know, her and her husband Torch. You know, so you know, I'm glad to be on the panel with her because I know I've watched her journey as far as physical fitness from where she was to where she is now, and she's been one of my constant reminders and inspirations that I got to go harder and I got to do more. Because she was so consistent with everything that she did and everything she said, and I've seen it. So the whole metamorphosis, you know,
the metamorphosis.
Yeah, I've seen it, you know. So
yeah,
I'm a witness.
Yeah, I checked out her Facebook page,
yeah,
and I saw some older pictures, and then now, and I was like, because I never known her, but how I see her now. Because I was introduced to her probably about maybe 6-7 months ago, maybe 5-6 months ago. Like I said, from Debate Talk for You. So how I see her now, so I always seen her. But when I went on her Facebook page and I started looking at some of her old pictures, I said, whoa, she transformed. This is crazy. So you guys are going to definitely be blessed to have her here. With no further ado, Ashanti, share yourself with the people. Introduce yourself, girl.
I am Ashanti. Oh baby, you know, but I don't really sing. AKA Shanti Doc. So the Doc stands for Disciple of Christ. So Sister Ashanti, Shanti, that's me. I definitely used to do a lot of teaching on Debate Talk for You. I did a lot of teaching on my personal YouTube channel, 916 Sean. I am Sacramento born and raised, right? And I have been with my husband. I'm married. I've been with my husband for 16 and a half years now. Married 6.5 years. So definitely just a person who loves enjoying life, enjoying people, and enjoy having fun, enjoy living it up, enjoy recreating. And I definitely enjoy my faith. I definitely enjoy having a spiritual walk in this life. So that's just a little bit about me. I can share a little bit more as time goes on, but that's enough for now.
I ain't gonna lie, when you first started talking, I was thinking about the singer. I ain't gonna lie. You said I'll sing, and I was like, why am I thinking about her? Like, I don't understand. Like, yeah, let me get that out of my mind. Anyway, we got the better Ashanti up here, okay? She way better than that, all right? Way better, okay? Don't try my girl, all right? She my girl already. Don't be judging. I made her my girl, okay? That's just how this works, okay? She my girl. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get right into it. So this is what I want to ask both of you guys, and I'll let you go first, Mr. Blacktastic. The question is on the table, which is soul food slave food? So I want you to answer the question, yes or no, and then I want you to tell me why you say yes or you say no. Is soul food slave food? So Mr. Blacktastic, you go first, and then we'll get to Ashanti. You're muted again. We ain't doing this tonight. We're not doing this.
Take the mute off.
You were good last week. You did so good last week. Not tonight.
Okay. Okay. So my answer is yes and no.
What?
Okay, it's yes and no. Right. So the origin of soul food is rooted in the slave diet. But soul food, as we know it today, developed over time. And it wasn't actually started to be called soul food until around the late 50s, early 1960s, to kind of distinguish it as a Black American cuisine. Before that, just the diet, like I said, was just something that Black people had developed over a time. And the original menu or meal items for slaves that we now call soul food weren't always a part of the diet that slaves actually ate. Like, for instance, there was no macaroni and cheese, so they weren't on the plantation, making that bomb baked macaroni and cheese that we're so familiar with now. So there was none of that. A lot of things, like I said, slaves developed because of the lack of food that they were given. And in fact, if you look at what slaves were actually given, it was very meager. In fact, there were no veggies, there was no dairy, and there was no fruit that was included in their diet. And they were given a high calorie diet just to basically give them enough energy to be able to function throughout the day, because they worked from sun up to sundown. And so what you had was a high starch diet as well that consisted of rice, some sweet potatoes and cornmeal. And then they worked in some corn, and then you gave them the bits and pieces of pork, because the pig was such a prevalent animal that the slave masters didn't want. They actually didn't get chicken like people think, as much as we love fried chicken, but fried chicken wasn't actually a part of the original meal. And they would create things like something called mush, which you kind of combine stuff together and mushed it all together and things of this sort. And and they ate it. But what happened was slaves, they was like, man, this stuff is garbage, which it was, because it was just enough to survive. They would forage, and this is where you start getting the vegetables, like and other things added over time. And then they would fish and hunt and do stuff like that when they had the opportunity, and they would start adding their own items to the menu. So, and then too, when slavery was over and people migrated to the north, well, the influence of other cultures also impacted what we started adding to our meals. And certain things you can look at historically, because even certain vegetables and things that we're used to eating, like with rice, for instance, well, that's not necessarily indigenous to America. So slave masters brought stuff like that with them on the ships, on the slave ships. They brought a lot of the cuisines that Africans were eating with them on the slave ships. And then African slaves took those things, and they would they would use whatever was here locally to try and add that to create some semblance of the diets that they were eating over time. And as generations went forth, everybody added their own little thing. And then we end up eventually to what we have now. But like, for instance, the macaroni, that influence came from Italians and other peoples of that sort, the spaghetti and all that stuff. And like I said, so all of these different things happen over a period of time.
Oh, okay. So this is my question. I see what you're saying. You're saying it morphed into something now that wasn't back then. And that's why you're saying yes and no, because you're saying what we eat now is not necessarily what they ate back then. But then at the same time, it's a product of it, but it's just been morphed into something else. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
It's a product of it, right? Because of when we were on the slave diet, we only were eating for survival.
Yeah, not for pleasure.
So you don't think about
like Thanksgiving. It'd be nothing but pleasure.
Right. So like now, we didn't move the nickel above starvation. Right.
Who made the potato salad? Who made the potato salad?
There was no potato salad back then.
Because if you don't make that potato salad right, you gotta go. You can't come to the cookout no more. You cannot come to the cookout no more. Everybody finna roast you. You're not going to the cookout no more.
Right.
Okay, so I see what you mean by yes and no. But let me get to Ashanti. And then Antoine's in the building. I wasn't sure if he could make it, but he made it, man. My boy came through. So we'll get to you in a minute. But let's get to Ashanti. The question on the table: is soul food slave food? Yes or no? And why?
I would agree with Blacktastic a little bit. Say yes and no. We have to classify what slave food is first, right? Slave food. And Blacktastic said, hey, it did not develop with the title until of soul food until like the 50s or 60s. So the classification of slave food, is it food that the slave masters gave? And I would say yes, certain soul food is still considered slave food. I still consider like pork the slave masters food, especially booty noodles. You know what I'm saying? Like
for the people who don't know what booty noodle is, I know what booty noodle is. But for the people who don't know what booty noodle is, can you please share with the people what booty noodle is and why you call it booty noodle, please?
On the big bucket, the big gallon bucket with the red letters on it, it would say chitterlings.
Okay.
And black folk would pronounce it chitlins.
Yeah, that's what I say. I say chitlins.
Chitlins.
I thought it was called chitlins. I didn't even know it had a different name.
It's actually chitterlings.
You taught me something today. That sounds more sophisticated.
Well, yeah, that's what they got to put on the bucket. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, them is pig intestines. And my thing is, why would somebody want to eat what toxins actually go through and that comes out of the rectum? You know what I'm saying? So why would we want to directly eat that? And like you and I discussed earlier, Christina, like you come in a house and you smelling this, you smelling number 2 in the whole house.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
But it don't go away for a while.
Yeah, it don't go away. It's like, why would somebody want to eat that? So when I found out what that smell came from, I never wanted to eat it and I never ate it. And a lot of our people just keep eating it, especially on certain big holidays that they celebrate or whatever. So I believe like especially the pork definitely was given by the slave master. Now as far as like the chicken or whatever, I'm not too sure where that came from, like frying it or whatever,
I like fried chicken.
I do like fried chicken and I eat fried chicken still,
like the crispiness.
I still eat it still,
you bite it, that first bite, like
yeah,
so good.
Yeah, and that mostly comes from like the skin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
The season. Yeah,
right. We'll talk about that later. But I'm like, and the greens,
somebody,
like greens.
Somebody put nasty.
Yeah, like that's crazy. And collard greens are healthy raw. They're like when you eat the more raw the vegetable.
Not when we're done with it.
I know. I know. But yeah, so I'm like, where do we get this thing of just, having to put something on Saturday night and then having to watch it Sunday morning and hurry up home from church to go take care of it on Sunday? So I believe certain things are still slave food like that. And then the no would come from, like Blacktastic was saying, macaroni and cheese. The spaghetti, you know what I mean? Like the potato salad. Where did that come from? I don't believe that came from the slave. I think we just got to liken into different seasonings and how to put things together, so to speak. So that's what I would say. Yes and no to that.
All right. Antoine. First you got to introduce yourself because you was late. I don't like that, but I'm gonna forgive you because you here. But you was late. So introduce yourself to the people. And then after that,
now, sis, he got the baby. We got to give him a break. He got
I got 7
Thank
babies.
you.
I got 7
babies.
babies. I got 7. Okay, I don't want to hear that. Okay. Anyway.
Yes, Mr. Black. You know, I got the little girl with me right now in the back. I'm in the backyard with her right now.
Look at that.
He's trying to
He fighting for his
the
boy.
ball
Look
with
at
me.
him. He got his boy back. Okay,
Yeah,
fine. Since Mr. Black Tastic give you a pass, I'm gonna let it go. You're not late. You actually are helping us out. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Glad to be here.
Introduce yourself to the people. Let the people know a little bit about yourself, and then the question will be on you. Basically, is soul food slave food? Yes or no, and why?
Okay, can y'all hear me clearly?
You sound good.
Okay, awesome. First of all, greetings, good evening, everybody. I'm Antoine. I'm a member of Absolute Bible Truth. I'm a student, teacher, and apologist at Absolute Bible Truth Ministries. We're based out of Atlanta, Georgia. History and education major from Albany State University. That's pretty much it. A father, husband, guy who loves sports. Played, multiple sports in college. Warriors and Six. That's pretty much it.
Ashanti, just keep your mic muted, okay? Just keep it muted. You know what he's doing. You know what he's doing.
But lastly about me, I was born and raised in Polk County, Florida, Mulberry, Florida. I recently, like 8 years ago, I moved full time to Middle Georgia. I've been living here ever since then, and that's where I'm at now, right here in the Peach State.
So because you were an athlete, pretty much sounds like majority of your youth, you would say that you're very knowledgeable when it comes to being fit and your diet and things like that.
I know I would say to the point of being fit, but because growing up being fit and in the time period that I was growing up doing it, the diet portion of it wasn't really relevant to me. Because I didn't see the effects of it as a youth while I'm exercising and playing. Like I can eat all the junk food in the world that I want, do all this stuff, and I didn't really care or think about it as not like I would in today's society. So it was kind of like a different aspect. Like I didn't think twice about the stuff that I was eating. For like I would go to McDonald's before a game and eat a nugget meal or something and fries and a Sprite before a game. Now, there's no way in the world I would do something like that.
So we definitely going to get into that about the difference from when you're young, because I think a lot of youth, they get used to eating like this because they're young, like you said, and then when they start getting older, if you spend the first 30 years of your life eating unhealthy, you can say you know this and know that all you want. Some habits are hard to break. So if you spend the majority of your life eating like that and your parents raise you eating like that, why do we expect people to just like a snap of a finger? Oh, now some people can do it, but it's going to be a process. It looked like that's what Ashanti did. One day she was just like, I'm not in shape. Now I'm just super in shape. I don't even know what happened. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But I want to know, do you think,
Yeah. Just to answer the main point of the question, I want to say that it's yes and it's no. And the reason I say it's yes and it's no, yes, as far as as us dealing with it today, yes, it does go back to slavery, but I don't think it stems necessarily from the actual slave culture. And the reason that I say that, I won't say that it stems from the slave culture. To be more accurately, I think that it was a culture that was adopted by blacks and black slaves in the antebellum period of the United States, and it was a custom that was they learned from what we would call, or what was known back then as, cracker culture or redneck culture. From that culture, that's where the blacks got it from. During that time period, there was a book called The Real History of Slavery, written by a historian. He's probably the greatest historian and American philosopher and probably the past 1,000 years. A black man named Thomas Sowell, Dr. Thomas Sowell, and he hold on, baby. A black historian, and he wrote a dissertation on the real history of slavery. They're very thorough, and he talked about how a lot of the customs that black people, African Americans, have today, that really they get it from these quote unquote rednecks or crackers that came from
I
northern
never
Britain.
knew that. I
Yes,
never knew that.
yes, it actually came
Yo.
from them. So here's the thing, that when they come, like a lot of the customs that you got to check this book out. You probably could listen to it, and you can start to see like, wow. And he'll go through a bunch of examples of things that people are saying about certain people. And at the end of what he's reading, he's like, "You think you're talking about black people?" I was like, "Nope. This was actually written about the Southern whites and Southern rednecks that were living in the South and antebellum era." And it's so funny that Ashanti brought up chitterlings. That term comes from Northern Britain. It's like a northern term where they eat hog entrails. That's also in his book. He said blacks still to this day they eat that stuff because it was a culture that they saw that
They
of course they
adopted
came
it.
up in slave, they adopted. Same thing, even stuff from like from example like playing cards, like spades and bid
Oh,
whist.
that's my game.
Bid
Spades. That's
whist, right?
my game.
Spades and bid whist. When they came over, that's what they played over in those northern areas. Now today, they play spades and bid whist, but those cultures over in Europe, they moved up like in the upper class as it evolved. They started playing like bridge and different games. But bid whist, that's what those quote unquote rednecks and crackers brought over there. So it wasn't something that black people always did. It was something that they saw and that they adopted, and they thought, okay, this is how we're supposed to do. But it's not some culture that was just like of nature that we just behave this way or we eat this certain type of food. Like, no, we actually saw these people. And if you actually go look at the history of these people, which is all outlined in this book, I really got to share with you guys. It's called The Real History of Slavery by Dr. Thomas Sowell. And he thoroughly outlines everything. It's one of the most well-sourced books ever that you'll ever find. Baby, stop. Sorry. And it's very thorough. It's very detailed. Very thorough, very detailed, and he goes through it all the way, and he shows you like, no, these customs and stuff, even from the way we treat each other down to the food we eat, like chitlins. Like, this is not stuff that we done. It's something that it was adopted. So I would say yes to answer the question, yes and no.
Okay, so I have a two-part question for you. The first part, do you believe with what King just said? He talked about the gang culture also comes from that. Would you agree with that?
Yes, all of that stuff is thoroughly outlined. The recklessness, the lack of respect of life, talked about, like how the gang culture, as far as like, having pride. I mean, all of that stuff is like he outlines a story about a woman racing a boat on the side of the road. I mean, I'm sorry, racing a boat on the side of the road, racing a boat on the Mississippi River versus another person, and the boat ended up, they were feeding the engine with so much stuff. They were throwing, like, they had to feed it to keep the coals and the fire burning. They were just they threw food in it just to win the race. And one of the boats ended up blowing up. A bunch of people died, and nobody cared that the people died and stuff. She was just so happy that her boat won the race. And it's just like, it goes through so many examples of a dude killing, just killing people senselessly, or not wanting to tell on each other. That stuff was not initial. Black people were not the ones doing that. That was the culture that was going, and it spread out all across the United States, because 8 out of 10 African Americans or black people were in that area, in the antebellum area, before they spread out and they migrated to other places. And people all over the country did not respect the southern whites, or of course the southern blacks, when they moved around. Even like, you could see stuff like even up in the 19th century where it said like Irish need not apply. They didn't want no Irish people even trying to live in their apartments, applying for jobs, because they didn't have any respect for their culture and how they were as a people, and their behavioral patterns. And those are things that some of the black people adopted. And sadly, we still have people today that we claim that, oh man, that's part of the culture. Like, no, that ain't our culture. It really is not. It really comes from these British white folks.
So I'm gonna give you a second, because I know the baby in the background. So I was gonna hit you with another one, but I'm gonna hit Blacktastic and Ashanti with this. It seems like you guys pretty much agree with everything he said. If you didn't, let's talk about it. But if you do, my question is this then: if we're mimicking this stuff off of the so-called redneck, what did our culture look like? What did our diet look like? What did we eat?
This is a great question. I mean, you would have to go back and look at what people eat today on the continent, where they haven't been influenced by European diet. And a lot of times, a lot of places on African continent still do eat a traditional African diet, just like people in China. They eat a traditional Chinese diet. If you notice something about Asian people, what they serve us in their restaurants is not what they cook at home.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you this straight out because in the restaurant they tailor everything to American dietary preferences. So the way they cook it, the seasoning, and all of those different things. I remember seeing an investigative report probably like 20 years ago, and I still living in California, where one order of Kung Pao chicken was the equivalent to eating 5 quarter pounders with cheese. And that's because they seasoned it and cooked it the way that they know Americans like it. Greasy, salty. But when you went to the person's house,
don't forget the crispy.
Yeah, and they made the same dish. They were cooking it in a wok with this, with lighter oil, different thing. It was so different. You almost didn't think it was the same dish. But we like that heavy, unhealthy, flavorful stuff because that's what America's all about. It got to taste good. It ain't got to be good for you. It just got to be good to you. And so with slaves, and I saw one person that said they didn't agree 100%. Well, Antoine was not saying that slaves didn't eat scraps. Well, because he's talking about, as we were all mentioning, the development of the slave diet into what we call soul food. All right. But when slaves, how this all started though, was slaves took the scraps they were given and they did the best they could with it. And this is where you start getting us as a culture wanting to season things a certain way or particular way. But a lot of the stuff, though, as he said, that's spot on. A lot of the things that we see in our culture today, it did come from other cultures. But there are still holdovers also that came with us, across from Africa, from the ancestors there as well. So Black American culture is distinct in that in order for survival, and it has to create its own identity, but it borrowed from the cultures that were around it, and then it took things from those cultures and made it uniquely its own. For instance, our potato salad ain't like everybody else's potato salad, but we didn't create potato salad, somebody else did. Our macaroni and cheese is not like everybody else's macaroni and cheese, but we didn't create it. The whole thing with the fried chicken, slaves who were in the house were cooking it for the master, but they couldn't eat it themselves. And so there's a lot of things. And so slaves were learning how to make certain cuisines for the slave master that they weren't even allowed to eat. And then after, emancipation, they would start making those things for themselves. But they had already mastered some of the things that we now eat. But like I said, some of the stuff that we attribute as that's soul food, that's this, that, can't nobody fry chicken like a Black person. None of that. I know that's not true because I know some Asians right now in Pomona, California, at a place called Donovan's that can cook chicken, and you think they got somebody's Black grandma, chained up to the kitchen back there. But everybody can cook different things. But we became so good at it, other people started adopting and copying our style of doing it. So even though we may have gotten it from another culture, we did things that made it suitable for us. It became preferential for us. And then that became more popular and other people started doing it. But there are some staples in the diet that we didn't get from other people. Greens, for instance, leafy greens that's a regular staple of the African diet, as well as in other cultures. So that's not European in any way, shape, or form. And then you had other things, like I said. So what happened again? Rice, that's not something that was in abundance in other places. That came again that's found in Africa and Asia and things of this sort. But what happened was the seasoning of the food. They had to use what they found here. But corn, for instance, and cornbread, that was Native American before it was ever anything to do with Black people. So we learn things from, again, these other cultures. But see, I think too, what people are confusing is that soul food and slave food are not the same thing. Soul food has its origins in slave food, which was based on the scraps that the slaves were given. And then the slaves developed, all right, a diet or menu based on the scraps, and then they started adding more things to it as time progressed.
So it developed as it went. So, so what you want to add something?
Yeah, I wanted to add one thing too. And he's absolutely right with what he said. And there's another part of it too as well. Like, yes, they did get a lot of the scraps, but what we have to understand is also that these were still the foods that the slave masters and the people in the area. First of all, everybody didn't own a slave. All right, like maybe 1-2% of the population in the South owned slaves. So it wasn't just the slave masters and them eating this stuff. It was like the people in general. This is the food that they were eating. So when they came off those ships and stuff, and they seen all these people eat these certain things, that's what they were eating. And so when you take that into consideration, also you got to take in the economic factor of it as well. These people you needed to have healthy. Yes, of course, we know that slaves were mistreated and done wrong and all that stuff. But at the same time, when you look at it from an economic standpoint, you still needed healthy slaves. You needed them to be well fed. You needed them to be able to work. You know what I'm saying? To provide the free services that they were getting. They can't do that without being fed and stuff. So they were feeding them food that they themselves also were eating. So when they eat stuff like all that pork and stuff that they were eating, and some of the things that you still see us indulging in today, putting pork in everything that we eat, the chitlins, eating the gizzards and eating the guts of food and not the flesh of it. Those customs that we still hang on to today. I still don't understand how people. I never like liver and gizzards and stuff. People back home in Florida, they eat that stuff like it ain't nothing. But you're eating organs.
Yeah,
like
my dad used to force us to eat it, and he said that it was good for us. And those things, liver and grits.
Man, my mama will put ketchup and eat that stuff all day, but that stuff is we're not supposed to eat that. We're not supposed to be eating that, those organs and guts. But from the culture, that's what the people that was around them, that's what they were eating. And then after a generation, then you start to see like, wow, this is, of course we had a science today to show you that you're not supposed to be eating this stuff. But at the same time, when you look back at it, it's like, well, these people, they didn't know any better. After a generation or two, you see your mama eating it, your grandfather eating it. You think this is normal food. But now we have the technology and the understanding and the research to know that that's not what you're supposed to be doing. And so, yeah, I just wanted to add it to it. Yes, there was scraps, but at the same time, that's what everybody was eating in those areas. And so that's how they got into it.
All right, now Ashanti. Okay, yeah.
Even today, people confuse Southern food with soul food. Soul food come out the South, but soul food isn't necessarily. It's a form of Southern food, but the Southern menu diet, you'd be surprised at how it looks just like soul food. I've been to white folks' house in the South with some of my Marine Corps brothers, and when you go to these folks' house and his mama cooking,
it's just like
your grandma's cooking.
Yeah, because my mom is German and my dad is Nigerian. Mm-hmm. So my mom, one of her favorite things was she used to call it SOS. It was called shit on shingles, and she would take flour. That's what it was called, shit on shingles. To take flour and she would bake it. So that's basically a biscuit. All right, it's a biscuit. And then she would take gravy and sausage and season it up with some, but she just threw salt in it. I don't know if she seasoned it, but she threw some salt in that bad boy and she'll sprinkle it on top of the biscuits. Okay, that's gravy and biscuits. Okay, that's what my mom used to feed us down here. And she's a German woman, so I see what you mean by that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at how many in the South. We think sweet potato pie is only for us, and everybody else eat pumpkin pie. Oh no. I'm serious. I'm telling you that I know white folks be like, I got to have my sweet potato pie with my coffee. They got. Yeah, I mean, it's because it's
I live in the South, so yeah.
Yeah, you're in the South. It's a Southern thing, So there is, like I said, there are these differences and nuances, between what was the slave diet versus what became soul food, and then also what we would call soul food based on also what is Southern food. And a lot of times it boils down to how we season things, and and perhaps more than anything, and how we prepare things.
So now what I want to talk about is I want to get Ashanti in here, because this is what I want to know. We've been talking about this about a lot of stuff. We talk about this in our music. We talk about this in the way we dress. We talk about this in how we're eating. Black folks seem to copy. And I'm like, why are we like this? Like you see white folks be selling out the tickets with the rappers, but they don't look like them, act like them, and do none of that stuff. Some of them do, but the majority of them, they don't mimic that, but we mimic it. And now you're presenting to me, which I've never known this. I've never known Black folks to have mimicked from another culture. I know we do it, but I never looked at it for our food. I thought it was just something we had, and then we just got creative with it. That's what I thought. But now you guys kind of have educated me on the fact that, this is something that they were already doing. And yeah, we took it and kind of changed it a little bit, but that wasn't originally what we were doing. So this is what I want to know, Ashanti. We got a real bad habit doing this type of stuff, but talking about the food though, what do we do moving forward? How do we get out of this mindset to just continuously mimicking off of people and get back where?
Well, first, like for me, I had to change my mindset, which is understand that I can do something, that it's possible, that our parents gave us certain things and they might not have known better, right? And my story is this. My mother was diagnosed with cancer, stage 4 cancer in 2009, and she passed away 2011.
Sorry.
So she went vegan, and she was on hospice. So you know what that means. So being on hospice, she didn't really go to sleep, right? So she would sleep like maybe 15 minutes every now and then. So she had these talks, and she was saying that, God had us on a diet. I'm like, what you mean? What are you talking about? And she was like, I really apologize to you kids, you children, that I didn't teach you better, and I knew what she was talking about then. She was talking about that eating, and she wanted us to get acquainted with what she was eating. So I took, and at that time too, I was 32 years old, and I had been smoking Black and Milds in the hood. Y'all know what that means. Y'all call them Black and Measy. Over here in California, we call them Black and Measy. So I started smoking them from 19 all the way up to the age of 32, right? And I was like, okay, well, my mom's trying to tell me something. I got to try to get better. So she's trying to tell me what she was giving me as food. I had to learn different, So that really impacted me a lot. So I did get on the ball with that. So my mind changed. It was a life-altering situation that changed my mindset. And a lot of times, that's possibly what it's going to take. It should not have to take that. However, sometimes that's what it's going to take. A life-altering situation to want to renew your mind. So getting acquainted with the food, like a lot of the foods we eat are not bad. It's just that we probably overindulge in the seasonings. Like I was telling you, we're obsessed with salt, or AKA sodium, also sugar, right? And seasonings. And when I say seasonings, I still eat the seasonings, but I eat them sparingly. And I still eat a lot of soul food. I just eat it sparingly. So a lot of the seasoning, we got seasoned salt, we got pepper, which is okay, right? We got that garlic powder, we got that garlic salt, we got that onion powder, onion salt. You know what I'm saying? Those type of things, right? And we're just packing in the salt and the sodium along with the seasoned salt, right? So it's just getting reacquainted with that. Plus, like with chicken, yeah, you don't necessarily have to fry it in vegetable oil, right? Sometimes you can fry skinless, and when you fry it up, use extra virgin olive oil. You know what I'm saying? Skinless, and fry it up. I've done that plenty of times, or grill it or bake it. remove that skin off. The skin is what's, the season is, and on the skin is what's getting us a lot, and not drinking enough. Yeah, it do taste good.
And I think it's because we stick, but this is what I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Have we programmed our mind into feeling like it ain't right without it? Because like when I started trying to transition now, I'm eating certain things and I'm like, this is crap. But I know it's not crap. I know it's not.
Like you said, your palate, your palate has developed. And like your palate has developed a certain thing to go to the neuroreceptors in your mind, and it has an effect on the epigenetics, so to speak. So like, when you go to the doctor, every time I go to the doctor now, ever since my mother passed away, they ask you those questions. Is there a history of certain things in your family? I always have to say yes. Cancer tears me up. And my brother passed away 4 years ago, right? Of heart disease. All he needed to have was he needed a pacemaker, and he refused to get the pacemaker, but he just kept doing all this sorts of stuff, right? The thing is, what we've developed in our culture and our way of life and our outlook and our perception, what our family has given us, right? We have gravitated to that emotionally. It's emotionally embedded into our psyche. It's emotionally embedded into our psyche.
So what you're saying is, from what I'm hearing, the first step to trying to defend against this is our mind.
Absolutely.
That's the first step.
Absolutely. Yeah. And people ask me, oh, Shanti, is your husband going to the gym with you? Is he eating like you? I'm like, I have to walk inside my body first. He's not walking inside my body. He has to go through his journey on his own. He has his own mind and his own brain. It's going to take him to have that life-altering situation convict him. And so this is an individual thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's an individual thing. So that mind frame, your mind has to want to be there, because when your mind is there, everything else will follow. You know what I'm saying? When you start pumping yourself up to do something, you could do it. Like, my husband got me into this bodybuilder. His name is Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman, he was an 8-time Mr. Olympia, and now like he's bent up his body so much because he did steroids too. However, a lot of his positive things he did before he worked out, I use. Lightweight. I say lightweight. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, baby. Lightweight. I'll be like, it's lightweight. It's nothing. Let me just get up and go, and I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Let me just, I'm just going to take a brisk walk today. Let me just go ahead and do it. It's cool. It's sunshiny outside. Let me just go ahead and do it. Let me do this while I go listen to some music anyway. I need a break. You know what I'm saying? So, I need to just have some me time. Let me get away from my husband. My husband probably wanted me to get away too. You know what I'm saying? Because he wants his me time. You know what I'm saying? He wants his me time a lot. Let me go do something. Let me go move around. So, yeah. That's the thing. Lightweight. Psych your mind up to be like, yo, it's
you have to start. All right, so you have to start getting it in your mind. I want to get to once your mind is right and you're like, okay, I know I need to do this. I want to get into what are the first steps. But before we get into that, I wanted to hear from Antoine. Antoine, what would you say would be one of the first steps a person could do once they have done what Ashanti said? They have either they went through something life altering, or maybe they just looked in the mirror and was like, I can't live like this no more. Either way, they're finally ready. They're like, okay, I'm about to get it right. I'm ready. I want to get healthy. I'm going to do it. What are some of the first steps they should take?
I think the first step they got to take is you have to not care about what anybody else says or thinks. And you got to prioritize yourself. It's funny that Ashanti brought up the fact of talking about seasoning. And it's so funny because, quote unquote, in our culture, we like to make jokes about people not seasoning their food. And it's y'all ain't got no seasoning on their food. Yeah, they live until they're 100 years old, and we got high blood pressure at 30. You know what I'm saying? But y'all want to make jokes about this stuff like it's funny. This stuff ain't nothing to play with.
And
when bodies are going into the ground.
TikToks and everything.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that stuff ain't funny when bodies are going into the ground. So we got to take that stuff more seriously, and you gotta confront it and not care. That's why I always say, like, the greatest ability you can have is the ability to not care and what people think, because at the end of the day, it's your life and you got to live it the best way that you can. and just confront, like, I'm not gonna put this stuff in my body anymore. I'm not gonna eat this stuff. This is not fuel for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is not helping me. Like, I'm eating this stuff. I'm going to sleep. I'm getting tired. This is not helping me. You know, so I'm eating way too late at night. I remember a guy told me one time it could change the way I eat at night. He was like, would you put gas in the car when you pull in the garage? No. You put gas in your car when you're ready to go somewhere.
Exactly.
So you need to stop eating so late, you know.
That's true. But I want to ask Black Tastic, because you said something, and I want to ask Black Tastic that real quick, because you said something, Antoine, and I want to hit on this. So I'm going to hit on it now before we move into some of the steps. I want you to tell us about the itis. The itis. Because any person that's Caucasian and they're not used to eating Southern food, so they're not from the South, they don't know nothing about our diet, and they come to one of the barbecues. They get invited to the barbecue, and I think there was on Boondocks, they did an episode like that, and the kids, they ate it, and they started feeling weird, and the dude was like, "Oh, that's just itis," like as if this is a normal thing, right? Like we're supposed to feel like this. So get into the itis. What is itis? Should it be something that we should be adapt to and make it seem like this is a normal thing? You know, the itis. Go ahead, brother. Tell us about the itis.
Now, the term itis actually has its roots in a racist term. You know, we shortened it, but the original term was niggeritis.
Yeah.
And they used the term, it was, because like it describes you said being sleepy, lethargic, after eating a meal, but it was originally used against us to stereotype us as being lazy, and not wanting to work, just wanting to sit around and eat, and things of this sort. And it goes along with just like things from the culture that we've adopted into our dietary practices. We've also adopted words that were meant to disparage us into our vocabulary with no knowledge of where they come from or what their origins are, and we use them. And so that term, itis, it is actually, like I said, it's a racist term. It's a racist trope. And then, like I said, I've used the term, we've used the term, but when you really think about it, maybe we shouldn't use the term because it was saying something more about you as an individual, and they were trying to hide it or connect it, underneath the way that the food made you feel. But when you think about it, if we're feeling that way after a large meal, should we be feeling that way after a large meal? When we just start thinking about diet, I mean, I'm trying to get, like I said, Shanti inspires me. I'm trying to get healthy because I'm overweight myself and I'm trying to come down. I used to be a real serious weightlifter and competitive weightlifter because I was an athlete early on in my life. I was a boxer and all these things. But as I started getting too big with the weights and I wasn't doing enough cardio, I started putting too much pressure on my heart. And my doctor said, you got to stop lifting weights for like 9 months, which turned into a year. So now I'm trying to do more other things, flexibility and things of this sort. And I went and I tried a plant-based diet for a year. I challenged myself. And this is about maybe 6 years ago. Once I did that, I've never been able to go back to a consistent meat-based diet like before. Now, I'm not telling everybody else they got to do this. I've reincorporated meat into my diet, but all these different trips to the doctor, all these different issues that as I've gotten older, that I felt in my body has made me a lot more conscious about what I'm putting in my body. And yeah, it's a struggle sometimes when you've been doing something for such a long time because it's going to take discipline. It don't happen overnight. I mean, the sugar booger still calls me, I mean, sometimes you go through the store and everything you want is on sale and you see them Oreo cookies and you be like, man, if she was a fine woman, she'd have me jumping over the broom right now.
2 for $5, 2 for $5. But look, this what I want to know, because you said something about a plant-based diet. And I wanted to get into this because one of my kids, she's been a vegan almost a year. So almost been a year. And when she first started transitioning into it, I was getting her a lot of processed foods because she got sick and tired of the lettuce and the potatoes and stuff like that. She was like, Mom, I'm tired of eating this. You got to give me something else. So I started getting her some of that frozen processed crap. And I call it crap because my husband was saying, look, are you reading the ingredients of that stuff? She's better off just eating meat instead of eating this. Like, can you even name half of the stuff that's in here? So what about people who think that, plant-based is the way to go? Not plant-based, because it's not even plant-based if you're eating a bunch of processed crap. But people who say, okay, I'm going to just get rid of meat and I know I'll lose weight that way. And then they start leaning on the process front. And I'll point this out to Ashanti. Let's get Ashanti to answer this because she's kind of into the fitness and all that stuff. So Ashanti, what would you say to people who saying, I need to get rid of the meat because if I get rid of the meat, I'll lose weight and I'll get healthy. And then they start leaning on the processed stuff.
Crack cocaine is vegan. I tell people that all the time. You know what I'm saying?
So is McDonald's French fries.
Exactly. The thing is, maybe not deprive yourself of stuff that you want.
Right.
Maybe not deprive yourself. Just look for an alternative. Maybe look for alternative seasoning. Like I use Kinder's no salt seasoning and I use Mrs. Dash, right? Another thing is just eat those things sparingly. Like don't deprive yourself. Eat those things sparingly, right? And then
so what does sparingly look like? If you had a 30 days, explain. If I had a 30-day meal prep, what does sparingly look like?
Okay, so I meal prep. I was doing that earlier today. That means what I'm going to eat Monday through Friday, 5 times each day of the week, I cook on today, on Sunday. So I'm going to eat the same things over and over again, Monday through Friday. And then a Saturday or Sunday will come. Maybe I'll have a regular healthy meal like a chicken salad, chicken spinach, arugula salad or whatever, right? And then maybe I'll have like some spaghetti, or maybe I'll have a burger, right? Or maybe I'll have a pizza, right? And then come Monday, I eat the meal prep again. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So when I say sparingly, maybe limit it to a couple of days a week or a couple of meals out the week.
So it looks like 3 to 4 times a month you see yourself doing it, but you put it within the week. You put it within a week bracket. That way you're not solely depriving yourself to where, because I want you to share with the people, what does depriving yourself do? What is the bad effects of depriving yourself? And why are you so gun-ho on don't deprive yourself? Why is that such a big thing? Because you mentioned it over and over. Why?
Well, don't deprive yourself because you're used to something already. You're used to something already. Your body's been through something before and it remembers certain things, and the things that it remember it likes. So therefore, like when you find yourself depriving yourself and you have not had something for so long, you'll go on a kick again and you'll binge on it. Like you'll binge on it.
I got to say this real quick. I got to interrupt because she's helped me with this. And I have to, this is why she's helped me with this. Because she know how bad I want to, get that 6-pack like she got. Right now I got 2 2-liter bottles.
He drew it.
And I draw a line between them and make it look like a 6-pack.
He drew it. He drew it out there, y'all.
Everything. I'm trying to get my stomach to match my shoulders and my chest.
Okay, we see.
But she's helped me with this. And I'm gonna tell you something I learned. If doing things in moderation has helped me. And so like now, I like Oreo cookies, man. I love Oreo cookies.
You mentioned it twice, now 3 times.
Yeah, I mentioned them twice, now 3 times, right?
That. Yeah.
I got them in the pantry.
I know what to get you for your birthday. Go mail it to your house.
I got them in the pantry, but I'm not nibbling on them every day. I'm not eating. Sometimes I forget I even have them. But then when I do have the craving, I know I have them, but I measure, what I'm going to eat. Once I gotten satisfied that craving, I just go back to doing what I'm normally doing. But it's like when you don't have something around you, then you go out and get it, and you go crazy. If you love cheesecake, you gonna mess around and go down here to Costco or Sam's Club and buy them gigantic cheesecake.
Oh yeah,
and then
they be like $12.99 for like a full serving for the and you'll be like 2 whole families. You ate it in one night.
And you're gonna be like Pookie on New Jack City when he was
Just keep going. Just keep going. That's what you're going to
do. Okay, so basically what I'm hearing is you don't want to deprive yourself because you have already programmed yourself into eating a certain way. And when you deprive yourself, you can find yourself like the dude on Fridays shaking and like, give me $5, I'll do it. Now, Antoine, what I want to ask you, because I want to
I want to say one more thing, Christina, if I could.
Go ahead, yeah.
If you're not going to eat meat, no problem. If you're going to eat processed food, no problem. You have to keep moving. Your body has to stay moving. A lot of people are sedentary. I do IT work. So what I do besides work out, the 5 or 6 days a week that I do work out at the gym, I takes me a walk. Like when I go to the office 3 times out the week, I take a 40-minute walk 3 days out of the week. Enough to get my breath like, I move around. A lot of people, they think they could just eat healthy or whatever, but they're still frying up mushrooms in vegetable oil, and they sit around all day drinking beer, drinking IPA all day and night.
What
you know what I'm saying?
What about people like LeBron James? I don't know if y'all ever seen his diet. He eats a lot of crappy food. Like they showed what he eats in one day, but he works out like
does too. The Rock does too. And I do the same thing. If we be doing something, what we're talking about is like carb cycling a lot. So one day we'll eat high carb, one day we'll eat low carb or whatever. But the thing is, your body has to have enough macronutrients, meaning a certain gram of protein, a certain gram of carbs, complex carbs, and a certain gram of healthy fats, right? To really go in and burn. So when you go burn, when you go work out and you burn, they work out for like 3 hours sometimes a day. So they're doing a lot of cardio and a lot of HIIT and a lot of strength training. So their body can handle a lot of what they're processing out. They're not sedentary. They're not sedentary.
So what about this what about this whole thing where they say it's 80-20? Like I hear a lot of people say 80% of losing weight is what you eat, and only 20% of it is working out. That's like a big
say 70-32.
Let me chime in on this one real quick.
Go ahead, Antoine.
I remember like one of my professors and my sports, my physical health class in college. One of my professors, this little white lady, she was no, that wasn't my physical sports class. We were just talking about this same topic, but I believe she was one of my English professors. And she stopped class one day because we were having a discussion. A lot of times, in college, they let you speak about stuff. And hold on, y'all. Sorry. A lot of times, they let you speak about stuff. And they let the students engage. And so we're talking about weight loss and things that you do. People talking about the South Beach diet, all this stuff. That lady stopped us cold turkey. She said, let me tell y'all something. Listen here, y'all. The only way you can lose weight is to burn more calories than you take in. That is the only proven way that you are actually going to lose weight. You have to burn more calories than you take in. Don't fall for these schemes and all that stuff. What you need to start doing is burning more calories than you take in. They say, I promise it'll work every single time. It's the only way you can do it. And that's why a lot of times, a lot of these world-class athletes, they're able to get away with taking in all these calories because they're burning so many. They're moving. Like Ashanti said, you're constantly moving all the time. And you're constantly exercising. Obviously, there comes a line that you make sure you want to. That's not just saying like going to the gym. Like these dudes are doing cardio, they're running. I'm not talking about just like bodybuilders who ain't running and really they just pumping iron. That's not the same thing. You have to be burning more calories than you take in. That's really the only proven way that you're actually going to lose weight. And so when people just sit there and talk about like you gotta you need to start doing this or stop doing that. I said, no, what you need to start doing is getting active first and foremost and stay active constantly, because once you start to sit in and stop moving as much, you know what I'm saying? Like that's when you start to see like drastic changes for the worse. Because if you don't use it, you're going to lose it.
So Antoine, what would be some examples of a person who is like, for me, I'm somebody who's just recently early in my getting healthy. And this is why I wanted to do one of these shows, not just for other people, but even for my own benefit. I'm learning things as we're doing this show now. What would you say advice for someone like me who is trying to change her mindset? No, I am changing. My mindset is changed. Let me stop. My mindset has changed. I'm getting older. I need to start working out. What would you say would be some good regimens or a good game plan to execute for someone like me who's trying to lose weight and trying to get healthy?
Just constantly move. Prime example. Right now, I've been talking to y'all this whole time. I've been moving the whole. I did not sit down. I have a desk at my in our house, in our office. I have a desk. Like I have a desk where you can sit down, or you can lift it up where you're standing up. It's all the way up right now, so I'm constantly moving. I'm walking around. So like little stuff like that. That stuff helps you out big time. But making a plan where you can stay committed to. And made up in your mind that I'm gonna do it, then you gotta do it and you gotta stick with it. So that I would say that the first thing is just make sure you're truly committed to it. Burn more calories than you want than you're taking in, and be conscious of that. But like Ashanti said, you have got to move. You've got to be active. You've got to be moving around. You cannot be sitting on the computer all day and just sitting in front of the screen. You got to get active. You can't come home and just, you had a long days at work and stuff. You come home and you just don't feel like doing that and I'm gonna sit down. Well, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like your body, you're not a teenager anymore. You're not young anymore. You gotta get active. And I'm telling you, it's worth it. The results and the end results of it is worth it. You're gonna feel so much better. You're gonna have more energy. The way you feel once you get through that little rough struggle phase where you're sore and stuff. Once you get past that, you're going to be feeling so much better. You're going to be more confident in yourself. You're going to be more confident in the way that you look and the way you present yourself in front of people. Like that stuff goes a long way in life. So, and then once you start, feeling better about yourself, psychologically, you'll start feeling better inside everything, man. All that stuff will come full circle. And ain't nobody be able to tell you nothing after that point.
Okay, so Ashanti, does a person need to have a gym membership?
Nah, you can actually do
workout equipment at the house.
You don't necessarily need to workout equipment. That's if you want it. Over time, you can build that stuff like resistance bands or barbells or dumbbells or kettlebells and stuff like that. Or you could just go to the playground and use certain things out there. And a lot of times, education comes from YouTube University. When you're talking about health and fitness,
That's
of people.
My favorite university.
And it's free 99. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you got professionals on there just giving you massive amount of tips. They're actually taking you through how to do exercises, how to get your form right, and things like that. So a lot of times I do that. I want to add to what Antoine was saying. Along with moving around, he said get more of those calories out. When you do want to go on a fat loss or a weight loss, because it's two different things, right? When you want to go on a fat loss or weight loss, you definitely want to get into a calorie deficit. So pretty much when I meal prep, when I eat Monday through Friday, I'm pretty much eating not more than about 1,500 calories a day.
Okay. But that's you working out as well, right?
Absolutely. So that's me working out like Monday, like some Saturdays I work out for an hour, maybe do some HIIT cardio. So that's high intensity interval training or whatnot. But Monday through Friday, I'll probably do some steady state cardio like 3 times out the week, like for 30 minutes. I put it on an incline of like 11 for like a speed of like 3.0, 3.1, and then do that for 30 minutes or whatever. But I do my strength training before. I do a strength training for an hour before I work out. You know what I mean? So I go lift the weights, but the cardio is very important. And a lot of times when you see people at the gym, they look at the same size as they were last year. That's because they're not doing the cardio. They're not doing the cardio plus. Yeah, they're not doing the cardio plus a little bit of the eating. You know what I mean? You can have a beer every now and then. You can have your wine. You can have your tequila. Like I love my tequila. You know what I'm saying? You can have but you just need to have those things sparingly, but make sure you drink a lot of water. You know what I'm saying? So
now what about people who want fast results? People who want fast results, should they be weighting themselves all the time? Yes, no. Should they be like, what is their expectation? If they're eating, like you said, they're eating at a calorie deficit, they're keeping themselves moving, like Antoine said, they're working out. What did their projection goal look like, and what should they be focusing on as far as weighting themselves and things like that?
Okay, so realistically, look, can I share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
Let me see if I can share my screen here. So present, share screen.
Yeah, you see this Blacktastic? We got a professional over here.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's right. You see this?
I'm listening and learning as
I
well.
know. This started off as a show, but now I'm like, okay, so what about this?
Yeah.
As soon as this show is over, I'm going out to do my little 3-4 mile walk, you know, and be active, you know.
So, actually, no. Let's not start with this picture. Let's start with this one. This the one I want to start with to show people, because this was crazy. That was me at 172.
That's you?
Yeah, that's me.
You sure?
Yes. I'm wearing the same blue shirt. I'm wearing the same blue shirt that I got on right now.
So you are 172. How tall are you?
I'm 5'2".
Oh, so that's like, for someone like me that's 5'7", that's like
that they would consider that obese.
Dang.
When I went to the gym and I got all the measurements and everything from the trainer, I was considered obese. Now you said should you weigh yourself in the beginning? Yes, weigh yourself, but also get in that caliper tool or whatever to measure, like they squeeze your skin around your waist, your arms, your legs, and all that stuff, your neck and all that stuff. You want to get a caliper tool or something like that. That was me at 172, right? And I started. That was June. That was May 2022, right?
Okay.
And then, I'm answering your question. And then, when was this? This was at the end of August. Yeah. Oh yeah. So the end of 13 weeks down. So what did I do? 3 months. So pretty much 3 months and 3 months and a week. I look like this.
So what did you do in those 3 months and 3 weeks?
You want to get those. You want to get those results. Okay. So I worked out.
Crack.
I'm gonna tell you.
Was doing crack. That's what happened.
Blacktastic, mute your mic. Mute your mic, okay? Mute your mic. What's wrong with you? You got a professional specialist breaking it down. You yelling out crap.
I'm hating.
See, so I lost 17 pounds then and 6 inches off my waist, right?
That's 3 months.
Yeah. So
praise God.
Hallelujah. You know, so what I did, I worked out 6 days a week. Shanti, did you work out on the Sabbath? Yes, I did. I wasn't working for money, but you know, I don't see exercise as something to break the Sabbath. But if for those who do think it is, that's on you. But
so you worked out 6 days a week.
Yeah, I was working out 6 days.
What does your diet look like?
Yeah, so look, I'll tell you about that in a hot second. So 6 days a week, I did strength training for an hour. And I'm saying this on behalf of the, you know, people think men are just supposed to just lift weights. No, the women, you're supposed to lift weights. You burn the fat a lot of times losing. You burn the fat with the weight training, but you also need that cardio. So I did an hour of strength training Monday through Saturday, right? And then Monday through Saturday, I did 20 minutes of cardio after each workout. Now, I also incorporated a lot of HIIT training, high intensity interval training, which is, hey, you do something for about, you go through a circuit of exercises. Say you go through about a circuit of maybe 5 or 6 exercises and you do them 45 seconds each. And then you get like maybe a minute of rest in between. You know, that's a lot of seconds, but you get like a rest in between. Then you go to the next thing. You know what I mean? It's going to break that sweat, right? So an hour of strength training, 6 days a week, 20 minutes of cardio after the strength training. Now, when I did the cardio, sometimes I would just do steady state, which is walk at a pace of like 3.0 or 3.1. Put that incline up on the treadmill to about 5 or 6, right? Do that for 20 minutes. I also did the Stairmaster for 20 minutes, you know, at a moderate pace, right? And sometimes I did the HIIT cardio, which is on the treadmill, maybe 2 or 3 times out that week. On the treadmill, I would I would actually do a steady state speed of like 3.0 or 3.1 for like 5 minutes. After that 5 minutes was up, I would kick that speed up to about 8 or 8.5 or whatever, the fastest I could stand it, right? I would kick that speed up for 30 seconds and sprint that 30 seconds, right? Then drop that speed down back to 3.0 or 3.1 and do that again for 5 minutes. I repeated that for about 25 minutes. So I did that HIIT cardio on the treadmill sometimes 2 or 3 days out the week, right? That was it. And then the eating part, what I do for me, a woman, I actually looked at a lot of figure bodybuilding eating. For the man, it's different. For the man, they would eat like 6 times a day, every 2 hours. But mainly our meals consist of this, like plain oatmeal with like a cup and a half of fruit, and then some egg whites. So in the beginning, I ate 3 egg whites. Now I eat 4 egg whites. They're boiled, okay? I don't eat them raw. I eat them boiled. So I boil all the eggs and everything. So I eat 4 egg whites now. So that at 7 a.m., I eat that first meal, right? Plain oatmeal, cup and a half of fruit, 4 boiled egg whites. Then at 10 o'clock in the morning, I eat about 130 or 140 grams of chicken breast, skinless grilled chicken breast or baked chicken breast seasoned with some Mrs. Dash or something like that. Then I eat some broccoli with that or some asparagus, right? And then at 1 p.m. I'll have like a cup of almond milk with a scoop of whey protein powder. And then at 4 p.m. I eat a sweet potato with nothing on it because it's sweet already, right? I eat a sweet potato and I eat some cod. In the beginning, I started out with salmon, but after this 3 months, I cut the salmon because I needed to get that healthy. Even though it was a healthy fat, I needed to eliminate that fat. So I wanted to slim down just a little bit more. So I got a slimmer fish, right? So now I eat cod. So at 4 p.m., I eat sweet potato and the cod. And then after a workout, again, I take that cup of whey protein powder, put it in 8 ounces of almond milk, drink that, and I eat some broccoli or some asparagus again. So that's pretty much my meal. And actually, I try to get in a gallon of water a day. You know what I'm saying? So now, like that was September, and then lastly, I'll show you this. So this is like really mean a little bit now. That's at 135. That's 135.
Wow. That's a big
135 pounds. Yep.
This is in February.
Yeah. All praise. Yeah. This was February 3rd, my birthday.
So it's less than a year.
Yep.
Hold on. When is your birthday?
February 3rd.
See, I knew we was cool. That's my birthday.
Oh, that's what's up. Let's see, we can for real, Antoine. Except for the basketball teams, but that's all right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was on February 3rd, 1987.
Okay, that's what's up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
See,
so
that's
a year. That was such an amazing improvement in less than a year.
Yeah. So a lot of women, they be like, "Oh, I don't want to get in there and bust no weight because they don't want to hurt or they don't want to feel no pain." No, you're gonna feel a little pain. You're gonna have to push through it. But after that first week, after your muscles have been awakened, after they're gonna be sore, you still gotta exercise while you're sore. After that, you'll be A-okay. You know what I'm saying? You'll be A-okay. And this right here, people keep talking about my abs. Don't you know I've eaten soul foods since then. I've eaten cookies. I've eaten cakes. I sparingly ate it. You know what I'm saying? But I ate macaroni and cheese. I ate pizza. I ate chicken sandwiches from Popeyes. You know what I'm saying? I've had some tequila. I've had wine. Man, you know, but it's sparingly. So like I said, every weekend I would have a couple of meals or 2, you know what I mean, of my favorite foods and went in. And every weekend I'd just be merry. You know, I'm an adult. I had me some sort of alcoholic beverage. But this is all the while, I got this way all the while, right? Maintaining my meal prep. This is why I say don't deprive yourself. Don't deprive yourself. But that's it. I'm done with the with the
Wow,
presentation
man.
there.
Thank you. I want to first say thank you
Yep.
for sharing your story because, anybody could get up here and say whatever they want to say. And some of it may be legit, backed up by science. But when a person can get up and say, look, this is what I did, and here's the proof, you can't really go against that. So I want to thank you first and foremost for coming up and sharing your story because, like Black Tastic said, it is inspiring. It has inspired me. Like I said, I'm trying to get myself where I need to be. So it is definitely inspiring for the people and also for me. So I appreciate that. And I'm gonna definitely keep in contact with you so that I could try and get on where I need to be. Because like I said, I'm getting older. And as you start getting older, stuff just stop working. So I got to get it together. Now, to get back on task real quick, what we want to do is before we close it out, I want to give the people an opportunity to come up. If y'all have any questions for any of our people on the panel, if you have any questions, hit the link. The link is in there. I see you guys here. Hit that link and come up. While we're waiting for them to hit that link and come up and ask any questions to anybody on the panel, I want to get back to the topic at hand, which was, is soul food slave food? So my question would be to everybody, we're going to go one at a time. So Black Tastic, you will be first. You've already said yes and no to soul food being slave food. But what would your position be to a lot of people? Because she said eat it sparingly. I don't know if you agree with that. She said eat it sparingly. I never agreed with that. I feel like just get rid of it because that's the only way it worked for me. Because as soon as I start eating it, I can't control myself. But I'm going to have to learn to adapt to this new idea of eating it sparingly. I'm going to try it. I told her that the other day. I said, I'm going to try to eat it sparingly. But what would you say to people who say no? Soul food is a staple of our community. It is a part of our culture. It brings us together. It keeps us as a family. There's recipes that have been passed down from Big Mama to Big Mama to Big Mama. It's funny that they call Big Mama and we talking about soul food, but whatever. Big Mama to Big Mama to Big Mama. So what would you say to people that say no? Soul food is not bad. It's good for us. It has a lot of protein, a lot of healthy fats that are good for the people. I'm trying to pay attention, but Ashanti is cracking up over there. It's losing my focus. So what would you say to people that feel like that? You muted again.
Sorry. All right. I think that we can enjoy some things that she said, sparingly or in moderation. But also, I see Ashley Just Souls. She makes a great point here. You can replace the ingredient with healthier options. And, one of the things about being in Atlanta is, even though it's in what they call the Deep South, people that have moved here have now become a lot more health conscious. So now we have soul food restaurants that cook like healthy soul food. So
give me an example of that.
Hold on, Black Tastic, you said you're in Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta, man.
I didn't know that. I'm right down the street.
We got to get together, man, and have some healthy soul food.
All of us are here, man. It's a lot of us here.
See?
All right, I'm hooking people up. I'm hooking people up. That's what I do over here. Let's talk. That's what I do.
That's what we gotta do.
So what are some examples of that? Give me an example of a meal.
Right.
I'm gonna shoot one out there. Candy yams. Candy yams are one of the great staple delicacies of our culture. Okay, if you gonna make candy yams, you better make it right. We need a pecan, we need a brown sugar, we need a canned evaporated cream milk, we need the brown sugar, white sugar, red sugar, black sugar, brown sugar. We gotta bake it. We need to sprinkle their marshmallows on top, crush up their pecans, bam, ready to go. So give me an example of a healthy candy yam.
Well, they weren't yams, aren't candy. That we candied them. So,
they're not candy.
They're not candy. We candied them. So nobody in Africa knows what a candy yam is. It's just yam.
He said it's not
we
candy.
We did that over here.
Stop it.
Right.
It's not candy.
Yeah.
You think about it, the yam, or the sweet potato, because really we don't grow yams here, we grow sweet potatoes. Yeah. But it's already sweet enough as it is. Now, there's nothing wrong with adding a little brown sugar or something like that. But what's happened, and here's how soul food retains its slave food connection is the unhealthiness by which we take certain basic foods and then we season them. I mean, greens by themselves are delicious. I put them in a smoothie. But once you cook them in pork fat and soak them all night,
ham hog. Don't forget the ham hog.
Yeah, and throw Big Mama's measure of salt, and people forget Big Mama had high blood pressure, heart disease. She was sedentary and didn't get around. She had no.
What was that movie? What was it? What's it called?
Big
Soul
Mama,
Food?
yeah,
Big Mama,
Soul
she
Food.
passed
It's called
away,
Soul Food.
She had passed away, right?
Big Mama died. She got sick and died.
It had her leg cut off. You know what I'm saying?
She had diabetes, I think.
Yeah, think about this. So we getting together and we sweating out the grease from the food and playing dominoes and spades.
Sweating out the grease.
We can't. The volleyball game don't last long because we eat this food.
I was playing volleyball at the park today with my daughter because she's trying to play volleyball. I said, girl, I got you. Let me help you out. So, because I used to play. Let me tell you something. I had about 12 hits in me. After that, I was done.
See?
I said, okay, you go ahead to that wall, go practice up. That's what I thought. I couldn't do it. I was done. She kept hitting the ball all over here and all over there. They go run and get it. It was too much work. It was too much work.
That's why at the family reunion, you always hear the old folks saying, that's for the young peoples. Because we just, and so I just think, it's... Bless you, King. Bless you. So it's we gotta have to change the way we do things. Like I said, we gotta do better because we
all right.
We
So
do too much.
she put some stuff up. She put some alternatives. She said some orange jazz. Yeah,
everything that she says, I have it. Like I don't have the one ingredient I don't have in my house is salt, and that's because food comes with salt. Already a lot of natural salt. And then I know too that, like I said, heart disease, high blood pressure, those are two of the main killers of us as a culture. And you think about a lot of our issues that doctors look at culturally. Well, if you go back in our history before slavery, you'll see the people with a proliferation of heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure. That happened because of dietary changes. And now it's become so incorporated into the culture and embedded in our psyche that we almost force ourselves to eat these way and feel like somehow like you brought up the recipe, we betraying the ancestors if we don't cook or eat this way. But the ancestors are all dead, and some of them dead because of their diet. So
yeah,
we're going to have to, like I said, it's look at things differently. Like I said, Asian people come here, they see the American diet, and so when they create these restaurants, I'm in Atlanta of all places. We got a bunch of wing places owned by Asians. Do you think they cooking hot wings the way they actually eat them at home? No, they cooking them the way they think we eat them.
They're some of the smallest people on earth. Some of the most
because when they go
people on earth.
They're not eating that stuff they're serving at the restaurant, but they know that's what we feed into. And so I've me myself personally. Truth be known, I think I'm some kind of chef. I'm always bragging to somebody or telling Shanti and them how I just made the greatest, pot of red beans and rice. Because I think I'm somebody now.
Until we taste it, you can feel however you want to feel. But until we taste them red beans, we're gonna leave that as a reserve. Okay, I'll be in Atlanta. Don't worry, I'm gonna be in Atlanta around June, and I'm gonna come on over and try some of them red beans. And then I'll decide, and Shanti, I'll hook back up with you and I'll give you a full report. I give you a full report on whether or not he's one of the best. And I'm not going to laugh because of the elder. I'm going to keep it real, okay? Now, what I want to do is everybody...
I'm working on it. I'm working on just doing things differently. I have a younger sister. She's very health conscious. She's taught me a lot about seasoning, spices. She's another person that has no salt, and different things, just so many things that we can do. We're such a creative and inventive people. It just some things traditions are created. We can create new ones. We don't
anybody that can take booty noodles and make a whole cuisine out of it, there is nothing that can stop us, okay? If we could do that with booty noodles, we can do that with some baked chicken, okay? So what I want to do is I want to get some final statements because nobody's sitting in the
wait. Hey, Christina, real quick before he goes, before you move to the final statements, I wanted Mr. Blacktastic to expound real quick because he's absolutely right. He was about to talk about like how like these restaurants in Atlanta, like they're giving you alternate options, and because a lot of people are becoming more conscious of this stuff. They're going into these restaurants. They're saying like, what kind of meat do you have in your vegetables? What are you cooking in your string beans? And I noticed that in Atlanta, not just in Atlanta, even when I go back home in Florida, like I ask people like, I'm like, what, we'll ask like, what kind of meat do you have in your greens? Like, oh, it's turkey. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll say, oh, it's this, that, and the third. Something that's a lot healthy. But I want him to expound on that real quick before, because that's like the first point he was trying to make. I was ready to hear what he had to say about it real quick.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I want you to hit on that, but before you do, I want to add something to that, and then you can definitely hit on that. I actually worked in the restaurant industry for over 20 years, so I have a lot of experience of what really goes on in the back of those houses. And just so you guys know, like I want to say over 90% of restaurants are not cooking food. So I'm just telling you now, a lot of it is processed, a lot of it is frozen, a lot of it is, I'm talking about the Olive Gardens, all these whatever places you want to name. A lot of it, unless you're paying a couple $100 for your plate of food, I'm telling you now, if you're paying 50, 40, 30, 60 bucks for food, it's frozen, it's processed, it's grilled and fried. Period. I'm telling you now. So a lot of this stuff in the restaurant, I've been in the restaurant industry for 20 years. I worked in the kitchen. I was a general manager. I did the orders. I know what's in this stuff. And because I started transitioning in my faith, I would read the box to see like what is inside of this. And I'm telling you, from a lot of the stuff that you would think is like, nah, this gotta be healthy. A lot of times it's not. It really isn't. So if anyone wants to lose weight, one of the first things I've done already is you got to let the fast food go. And when I say fast food, I'm not talking about McDonald's and Burger King. I'm talking about restaurants, period. They're not good for you. And a lot of times they don't even regulate what you really want. For example, let's say you're a vegan and you want to eat the Beyond Burger, which is nothing but processed soy, right? You think they actually put it on a separate grill? That's what y'all think, huh? Y'all think they put on a separate grill? They don't put it on a separate grill. It is too busy. It's too much going on. And those cooks are getting paid maybe 18 bucks an hour. They got a bunch of checks coming in. They are not separating the section just for you. I'm just telling you now, they're not doing it. The grease, you're supposed to only fry shrimp in this grease, chicken in that grease. They throwing that shrimp in every grill, every fryer. They don't care. I'm telling you guys. So if you do want to eat right and you want to eat healthy, I don't even suggest going to the restaurants. Let it go. Let all of it go. And just stick to what Ashanti was saying, the meal prep. If you can't meal prep, at least mentally have in your mind what you're going to eat. Like if you don't have time to do it until you're ready to do it or able to do it, at least say to yourself before you go to bed, okay, this is what I'm going to eat tomorrow. So at least you know, and you don't divert into something else like I do. I tell myself, I'm going to eat egg whites today. But then I somehow get the yellow eggs with the cheese and the onions grilled on top. Whatever, that's another day. So anyway, get into what he was talking about real quick, Blacktastic, what Antoine was asking you.
So there are places in Atlanta. One of my favorite places to eat at is called the Slutty Vegan. All right, ain't no slut.
I've been there. Okay? I've been there several times.
So why she picked that name, I don't know. But you have the Slutty Vegan, which is very popular here. And it's all health food, but it tastes delicious. Now, sometimes though, some of these places, because of the seasoning and things, it can be just as bad. Like these Beyond Burgers are not as nutritious as people think. But she does have a lot of varieties. She also has another set of restaurants called Bar One, and you can go there also and sit down and eat, there as well. And then there's other little places around here that keep popping up where you can go and you can eat things. You have private chefs here, people that I'm familiar with, that they can give you a whole Philly cheesesteak with no actual steak in it, but you wouldn't even know the difference. And so there's alternatives that are being created. You got a bunch of people on Instagram, YouTube. And so that's why I think I'm some kind of minor chef now, is because I've been consuming all these videos and then experimenting at home and trying to do a lot of the stuff myself. My daughter was another source of motivation. My grandchildren, I don't think my grandson, I don't think he's eaten meat since he's been born. He's 3 years old. And this is because they decided to make some changes in how they do things. But I've seen the effects that it's had on them as a family. And so they have more of a pescatarian diet. But I'm just start taking chances and doing things. You know, I mean, like you said, we love the season stuff. So it should not be hard for us to find the combination that's going to make it work. But be conscious of the fact that salt, even though your body does need it, we can't overdo it. So we got to learn how to do things in moderation. You know, yes, Lady V. Yeah,
so I brought this. The reason I brought this up because I want to show you guys what I mean about these restaurants, right? So you're thinking, okay, this is a vegan restaurant. It's going to be good for you, healthy for you. When you look at some of this stuff, right? You got the tomato and the lettuce and the onions. I guess that's not so bad. But a lot of times this bread, when you look at the ingredients and what they make so that it can be preserved, because they got to put a lot of different things inside the bread so that it can be preserved. If they actually made bread the way it's supposed to be made, it wouldn't last. So because they need this bread to stretch at least 2 weeks, they put a lot of different things inside the bread when you look at the ingredients. Not just that, when you look at the sauce and the cheese, when you look at what's inside that sauce, it may be not from an animal, but a lot of times these different sauces that they use, they come from a lot of chemicals and man-made processed stuff. Like even you look at this One Night Stand. Oh my Lord, she named something One Night Stand. Lord have mercy. So when you look at like the vegan bacon, right? That's vegan bacon. A lot of times you look up how much sodium is inside vegan bacon. It's high in sodium. So a lot of these stuffs you see right here, this looks really.
She got what's the thing called side hoe? You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, yo.
This menu has expanded so much from when she first opened that I haven't even seen it. So this is my first time seeing all of this, because the other places that she have are the places that me and my cousin, when we get together, go hang out, are the indoor restaurants. Because this is more of her fast food type of joint. But she got a whole nother thing called like Bar One or whatever it is. That's a nice sit down.
Oh no! And what I'm telling you is, unless you're going to be paying, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Unless you're going to a restaurant and you're paying close to $100 a plate, and the rest of it's all crap. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's crap, and it's not good for you. Are some of the price? Let's see if some of the prices on here. Let me see if some of the prices.
Nah, those cheeses are vegan. Yeah, all those cheeses are vegan.
It don't matter, but it's chemicals, it's processed, it's got a lot of stuff in it that's. Oh, somebody got their mic in the back or got me loud somewhere. Maybe that's me. I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is that, at least for me, the first thing I had to do was cut out a lot of the fast food stuff. And when I say fast food, I'm talking about her joint. That's considered fast food. A lot of it,
even though it's vegan, huh?
Even though it's vegan, that's what I'm trying to say.
I would have to agree with you.
Even though
it looked like she went commercial, and so now maybe her fast food restaurant. When she first started out, it was different. But that menu right there,
from scratch, when you make something, that's what y'all don't understand. Y'all do it at your house. Imagine making something from scratch, the healthy way, and feeding hundreds of people coming in at a time. That is just impossible unless you got a buttload of staff, and who's going to pay for that? So now you got to charge $100 a plate. So my point is, places like this charging $6.99, $12.99, $15.99 is not good for you. It's not, because a lot of it's processed, even though it's vegan. So this whole vegan idea, unless you're going to do it the right way, like natural, like y'all, you were telling me earlier, candy yams ain't candy. Like, it's not candy. Unless you're going to just eat a sweet potato, boil it, blend it up, mash it up, use some of the stuff the other sister said, maybe put a little honey in it, whatever. And that's it. Call it a day. Or just eat it how it is, because it don't even need the honey, because it's sweet the way that it is. So I'm saying that to say that a lot of these restaurants, they're no good. And I'm only saying that because I've worked in them. It's a lot of processed, frozen food that's supposed to stretch out for about 2 weeks. So anything that can sit out or, 2 weeks, sometimes a month, it can't be like nothing natural. It can't be. So all I'm saying is that unless you're gonna be paying close to $90 a plate, don't even. I mean, you could do it sparingly, like what she was saying. If you really gotta get, what was it called? What was that menu called? A side chick? If you really gotta get a side chick meal, like you gotta have it. You ain't had it in a couple weeks.
You know,
go and do it.
There actually is a website. I'm forgetting exactly what it is, but we have a brother out here and a sister out here, Israel Family Farm, Hanok and Judith Israel. They actually teach how to preserve fresh fruit and vegetables, like how to can or how to preserve things in a mason jar or whatever, so that like your natural ingredients, like your vegetables and stuff like that, they last usually a week. But if you need them to last longer because it might be more expensive to do that, they actually teach you how to actually save or preserve the fruits and vegetables a little longer in a natural manner. Through the cans, through the jars, through the refrigerator, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the Israel YISRAEL Israel Family Farm, I believe it's .net or .com or .org. But the Israel Family Farm. Yeah, you can look them up on Facebook too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, check that out. So there are natural ways, which it makes sense. It should be natural ways to preserve these things, but it's all about mass production. It's all about making money. So we're going to find the cheapest, easiest way. Like, for instance, a lot of people that don't eat pork, right? I don't eat pork. So a lot of things that have pork in it. And then again, this is me working in a restaurant. Monodegreasiolite, that's a pork. A lot of people don't know that. It's they take the blood of the pig and they break it down and they create these enzymes, and it's called monodegreasiolite. A lot of restaurants have it. They have it in their cheese sticks, they have it in their gravies, they have it in their sauces, they have it in, it's just read it. But guess what? Monodegreasiolite can also be taken from seaweed. You can also do a process with seaweed to promote monodegreasiolite. So like those little small hoagie rolls, I can't think of the name. They're little sweet rolls. Publix sells them, and I don't know if y'all have Publix where y'all from.
Like the Hawaiian rolls or something.
There you go. You said it. That's the name. The Hawaiian rolls.
Hawaiian sweet rolls.
Oh, we gotta throw them. We gotta throw them in the garbage.
Hey, Christina, look, you from Florida. To me, Publix is a restaurant to me. You know, I'm a Floridian. Hey, Publix is a restaurant.
It is. It has everything you need. The deli, the bakery. Whatever you need is there. But the Hawaiian sweet roll, they have monodegreasiolite, but it's seaweed based. And how you know is you go on their website, and as soon as you get on their website, it says, we do not use animal products in our stuff. All our monodegreasiolite, whatever we use, we get it based off plant-based from seaweed. Same thing with gelatin. You can get gelatin from the pig's skin. They melt it down and they create that little rubbery texture. That's that gelatin. But guess what? Gelatin can come from fish. You can actually create gelatin from fish. Go into them little Hebrew Israelite Jewish aisles and look at them marshmallows. Read the back of it. It'll say fish gelatin. So I'm saying all this.
I need you to tell that to General Mills so they can start putting that in Lucky Charms so I can eat Lucky Charms.
Hold up. I gotta tell you another thing.
I ain't ate Lucky Charms in 15
but
years.
Listen,
and I'm
anything Lay's, for example, any Lay's chips, so the cheese Doritos, all them little Lay's chips, none of them is pork based. All the Lay's chips. So you go on their website, type in like Lay's ingredients. Go to their website. They'll tell you we took out the pork ingredients, and this happened because of the Muslim community. Muslim communities years back.
And you know what? And you know what, Christina? The Muslim community also started a petition for Lucky Charms and General Mills and like some of their marshmallow products because they're like, okay, it has pork in it, we can't eat it. Let me tell y'all. I done signed about 3-4 petitions for them to change.
You
that.
really want
I want Lucky Charms so bad. My children have not eaten Lucky Charms.
They don't know
like,
what
I gotta have it.
I gotta have it, right? So I'm saying all that to say that, you know, these things, when they tell us it's healthy, it's vegan, it's good for you, it's all a facade, it's a lie. It's just to push out for us to spend money on it. So a lot of times we have to realize, and I'm learning this for myself, that, you know, just because it says, like, for instance, what's another word they use, Ashanti? They use a natural. They say it's natural.
They're natural or non-GMO, right?
Yeah, that don't mean nothing. Do you know that dirt is natural? Dirt. Marijuana is natural. Like it's a lot of things that's natural. Crack could probably even listen
Cocaine
natural.
is natural. Now,
It's
crack is when you mixing it with the baking soda. You
Okay, so
pack
they
it, you know
natural.
what I'm
Poison,
saying?
they natural.
Poison
But the
ivy is
crack,
natural.
Poison ivy is natural. That's right, Antoine.
So yeah, so we say natural, and we're thinking like, oh, it's natural, so this must be good for me. That don't mean nothing. That doesn't mean
You
nothing.
know what? I'm still disappointed that how much Slutty Vegan menu didn't change, man, because it's just, once you go commercial, the quality of the thing tends to drop. And now all of this is just like you got plant-based meat and you just throwing all the unhealthy. This is like people who go and order a salad and then get a Coke.
That's me, but with a Sprite.
I mean, it's basically if you're gonna order oatmeal and then you're gonna put a half pound of sugar on it,
and butter.
It defeats the purpose of having it. So I'm because like I said, because I support Black-owned businesses. I believe when we do something, and things of this sort. So I wanna promote it, man. But I can't promote this no more because
you can't do it.
It's not healthy. It's plant-based, but it's not healthy. And so I would, like Sister, there's other restaurants here in Atlanta, though. There's a lot of them that are a lot different, and you can get a lot healthier menu than that. And she does have she has sit-down restaurants.
Well, that's what she does. What she did was she transitioned this into a commercial style to make the money she needs. It's kind of like what I do at my show. I don't like to talk about a lot of that gossip, Sierra half naked on TV and all this stuff, but I know no one's going to come to my channel. They won't. Half of the subscribers I have, no, more than half. Of the 75% of my subscribers are people that have watched my Sierra videos, my Tia Mowry videos, my Let's Talk and my podcast. People are listening. They really don't want to hear it. So I have to mix in that stuff to try and somehow reach the audience. And hopefully one person will see the time Tia Mowry, subscribe, and then stumble upon this live podcast and learn something. So I think that's what she had to do. She wanted to expand. She wanted to create a healthy place for people to eat plant-based food and have those options, but she probably knew I had to go commercial. So she could have franchised some of them out too. A lot of times that happens and they kind of change it up. But then she also had her second restaurant, and that's probably where her passion and her joy lies, because she's able to give healthy, plant-based food for people to enjoy. And that's just the system we work. That's just the world we live in. That's just, it is what it is. Like,
hey, Christina, real quick, y'all, because I got to run real quick.
Yeah, so go ahead, close it out, share with the people your information.
No, yeah, I just wanted to I put in the I sent it to y'all. I think in the
I shared it already. I shared it. Yeah, I shared it.
I wanted to send that link, and I just want people to listen to the first portion of that book by Dr. Soul, and you will start to see where a lot of the behaviors and the patterns that a lot of Black people are living today literally comes from the people that they were around. And it's very prevalent to a lot of stuff you read in Deuteronomy 28, because you go to, it talks about going to foreign people and you start picking up their customs and the things that they live. Those are real curses. And it goes deep. Listen, all I do is, like, anybody I've ever sent this video to watch it. I had a book, the hard copy. I've read it. I've listened to it. I go back from time to time. But anytime I've ever shared it with anybody, they're like, wow, this is unbelievable. I cannot believe it. This makes perfect sense. This is why we behave this way. This is why we act a certain type of way. And ultimately it leads you back to the Bible. But I just want everybody to try to check that out if you do get an opportunity for that. To listen to it, it'll be great. While you ain't doing nothing, or while you working out. Not while you're doing nothing. While you working out, check this out.
I put the link in the chat, so y'all definitely hit the link.
Yeah,
and go and check it out, and give your final statements on soul food, slave food, and let people know where they can reach you.
Yeah, you can reach me. You can find us. Where can you reach me? You can find us on Clubhouse, on the Clubhouse app. Just search my name. I'm on the on Clubhouse. You can find me on. I don't have any social media, so that's it. I guess the only place you can find me on is Clubhouse. But besides that, Soul Food, Safe Food, it is of my belief from the history and the research that I've done, that a lot of these customs and a lot of the things that that Black people eat, a lot of the food that blacks eat today, literally comes from the quote unquote cracker culture or redneck culture that was that they were around during the antebellum period in the United States of America. And a lot of these people, they come from like lawless, badlands areas of Europe, immigrants, and they saw these customs, and a lot of people that they were around, they saw it, and they adopted them because they didn't have anything else to adopt. Their culture was taken from them; it was lost, and chitlins, all that stuff. That's not us, man. Nobody would think to eat unless you're like some type of savage.
Call it booty noodles.
That's booty noodles, all that mess. This stuff smells disgusting. All of those things, those aren't customs that we just had. We actually learned this from barbaric type people in America, and this stuff is well documented history, but it's history that is hidden from us. And I think in the form of, and this is a whole nother topic, from the real form of systematic racism is that because a lot of things that people say are systemic racism today is not. These are things that today that they're keeping us away from this true history, not telling us that they're highlighting the bad aspects of the culture that we're engulfed in today. They're highlighting it and telling it that it's ours, and it's not. It's actually something that we've learned and we've adapted, and it's been passed down. And then the good aspects that our forefathers knew better, like as far as valuing education and no handouts, wanting to go out and grind and get it. A lot of those things they didn't make it through, through as we have it today. But as far as that whole soul food and stuff, like a lot of those foods and stuff we eat, man, we know better. We gotta stop making these jokes talking about some, oh man, they don't season their food. Yeah, they don't season their food, but they healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta stop this stuff. Like this, we gotta stop selling out our health, our family, and our livelihoods for the sake of holding on to a quote unquote race card or holding on to a quote unquote culture. We have to value our lives. We have to value the people that we love. We have to value our families. And we have to value value our humanity as people more so than anything, beyond what anybody got to think. Man, I don't care what you say. You call me a sellout all you want to. I'm not eating no pork chops. You know what I'm saying? Like you call me a sellout to my race. No, I'm not eating no chitlins or no livers, no chicken gizzards. I'm not doing that stuff because I care about my family and my community more than anything. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not doing all of this stuff or having our communities overweight and out of shape and all this stuff. Nah, man, we're better than that, and we can be better than that, and it's not worth it. So let's not buy into that sham that we got to hold on to this culture. No, we need to take care of ourselves, and God has already outlined it for us. All we got to do is just hold tight to it. But with that, I love all of y'all, man. God bless, and peace.
And thank you again for coming, Antoine. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope you continue to come and support the channel, you guys. And y'all definitely check him out on Clubhouse. He's a part of Absolute Bible Truth. And also you can hit him up too, and Antoine Harris, and you'll find him in there as well. He does some teaching on and off as well on his platform on Clubhouse. So y'all definitely check him out. So Ashanti, what are your final words? What do you want to tell the people? What advice do you want to give? And what's your final thoughts on Is Soul Food Slave Food?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on here. It definitely was a pleasure. I really appreciate you reaching out to me, sharing your story, sharing the why as to how you came about getting this panel together with this subject and topic. It's very much needed for the community. I would like to say just share the same sentiments that Brother Antoine did. Once you make up in your mind, once your mind is renewed to do something, you don't care about what anybody else is saying. This is your body you live in. This is your body you have to walk around in and carry. So don't worry about what anybody has to say. You're definitely going to get a lot of jealous people, and you're going to get a lot of people telling you what you need to do, what you shouldn't do. It's not that serious, and they're not doing nothing that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? But after they see you in the long run down the stretch with the results, they'll be cheering you on. They'll come back with the result. You know, they'll come back with some encouragement, but sometimes they still come with some snide remarks. Just stay away from those people. Don't care about what those people say. You can reach me at duckanddodge1@gmail.com if you want to know some tips and tricks, some hints or whatever. That's DUCCNDODGE1@gmail.com. I also have YouTube 916 Sean. So you can go look at my past teachings on the biblical matters.
Can you put them in a private chat, Ashanti, so I can share it in the group?
Yeah,
put it in the private chat so I can share it with everybody. So anyone who wants to reach out for some tricks and tips, I'm gonna be one of those people, by the way.
Oh yeah, all day. Hit me up all day.
I'm gonna come in camouflage. I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah, but just you actually there's all sorts of alternatives online. We talk about YouTube University. Hey, this stuff is on Google too. A lot of stuff I Google. Like I said, I went to go find the figures of the figure bodybuilder women or whatever, looked at what they were eating, looked at how they were going about their daily regimen, looking about how they did their exercises or what exercises to do on the YouTube as well. You can go look at that stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not a guru. I just actually put those things into implementation as much as I can. And I wanted to get my summer girl body ready. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be comfortable on my boat when I go out on the water. You know what I mean? I wanted to be comfortable looking when I go out on the beach. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't just want to have my toes out, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted to be comfortable for me. And I love the compliments, and I love the compliments and the encouragement from my husband. My husband is my greatest supporter. You know what I'm saying? He's the greatest supporter. He does not necessarily do like me, but he does enough to me because he builds tough sheds, he builds fences, and he's a handyman. You know what I mean? So he's already in a good shape. You know what I mean? But as far as the food wise, please, whatever you like, don't deprive yourself. Just try to do it sparingly. Look into alternative seasonings like Kinder's, Kinder. Kinder's has no salt seasonings. I found lemon pepper, no sodium. I found barbecue seasoning, no sodium. Mrs. Dash, no sodium. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? So and I am able to douse my food with no sodium seasoning. So those are some alternatives you can look into. Also, like when I eat grits and eggs, I like to put butter in it, but on days where I don't want to put the real butter in it, got a butter alternative from back in the day, Molly McButter. Molly McButter, you can find at certain stores, and you can also find it online. You know what I mean? Molly McButter is a butter substitute, and it's not butter, but it'll give you that butter taste, when you want some grits and some eggs, you know what I'm saying? But also, just try to drink a lot more water and try to move around more. Just don't try to stay sedentary all the time. Like when I get up from here, I'm gonna go get up and move around just a little bit and try to, play around with my dogs a little bit, because they get on my nerves. But but just keep your mind focused on what you want to do, and just understand that you live in your own body, and it's for you to walk around with and for you to take pride in, right? So that's what I'll say. I don't have anything more to add. Thank you again for letting me come on. Thank you, Blacktastic, for contributing, because I actually learned a lot today about the soul food, the historical aspects, or the slave food aspects that you were talking about. I learned a lot today. I always learn something from Blacktastic talking to him. So thank you again. Thank y'all again. For the audience, thank y'all for tuning in, contributing y'all commentary. For real, if y'all want to reach out, I am available. I'm not one of those people like who get high and mighty because I'm on recorded podcast or something like that. No, you can hit me up. I'm gonna definitely hit you back. We can chop it up, have a conversation. So that's it. That's all. Love y'all.
Thank you again. I appreciate you for coming on. I want to say, I want you to come back. If we do another topic that you feel like, okay, this is something I think I can contribute to, this is something that I think I can add, I want you to come back. You're a very good speaker. You bring a lot of evidence, a lot of information. You just brought it tonight. So I really appreciate it. I think it's going to help a lot of people. And I'm so grateful and thankful that you came on, sister. I'm going to get to you, Blacktastic, but we got somebody that came up. I'm going to give them about 2 minutes real quick. So go ahead and hit the people what you got to say before we close it out.
Well, I appreciate you for bringing me before you close it out. Shout out to my favorite troublemakers on the panel. Shout out to Blacktastic and the sister Ashanti. You know what I'm saying? Looking for that good trouble right quick. You know what I'm saying? But real quick, What I said, I'll just expand on my comment that I listened to the chat. That soul, I personally believe soul food is a rendition of what we ate in Africa. That's a slave version of what we ate in Africa. So there's stuff that we were given that we didn't eat in Africa. But I'm somebody, people who know me, if you check out my channel, I do a lot of history into the gullet and looking at what they did, because you can see a lot of African traditions that were isolated and kept going farther amongst that culture. And they did something that was very interesting. They went back to West Africa and started comparing their foods to people in Sierra Leone and Senegal, and found a lot of consistency in terms of what they were eating, in terms of like the grains, the rices, the greens, the fish, the goat, yams, all that type of stuff, right? The tubers, the root vegetables, and whatnot. And if we go back and look at what we eat, from grits to gumbo to all the type of stuff, we can find all that type of stuff in West Africa. You're not going to find a lot of the pork. You're not going to find the chitlins. You're not going to find a lot of stuff we've been talking about and hearing about, all the type of stuff, whatnot. And if you make just certain substitutions from the continent, even go back and see how they eat the food and the portion sizes, how much meat they eat to certain grains, to certain tubers, etc., whatnot. We'll definitely figure out, okay, we're not eating our diet the way we used to eat it. You know what I'm saying? And there's definitely places we can go see where people are doing it back to a close way back to Africa, whatnot. I appreciate you for letting me on. A shout out to again, my favorite troublemakers on the panel, whatnot. And appreciate you for the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of interesting topics you're bringing on the podcast.
Oh, thank you. And you guys, this is his channel right here. If you guys want to check it out, he has a lot of different things on here, like he said. So definitely go and check his channel out. And he can bring some more information to you guys right here. Hit him up. Thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it. And I like the way you speak. I think I've seen you a couple of times. I don't know if it was on Zadok's show. I don't know. I feel like
I'm also a debate talk for you.
Oh, okay. That's why I saw you. Because I'm like, wait a minute. This brother's name and face looks familiar. Okay, good. So yeah, I'm going to be recruiting you. Don't worry. You don't know that yet, but it's going to happen. Okay.
Hey, just consider me on the team. Just put me in, coach.
Thank you again for coming. We appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Blacktastic, it's all on you, brother. Is slave food, is soul food slave food? Yes or no? Just to put that in there one more time, and then please share with the people your final thoughts and where they can reach you.
All right. Well, we've answered the question as both a yes and a no. In other words, we know that slave food, the original diet, it developed into what became soul food. And as my brother Orthodox Moore said, there were a lot of things that you can trace back to the continent. So what slaves were trying to do was recreate the diet that they once enjoyed before being brought to the Americas. But that wasn't possible because there were a lot of things that were missing. And so you did the best you could with what you had. And then over time, as generations are born here in this country, and you become, climatized rather or not to this culture and other things like Antoine brought up with Dr. Sowell's book. Dr. Claude Anderson also talks about these things in some of his literature as well. You begin to adopt things from the dominant culture under which you're under, and you include those things into what you're doing. And so that's how we get to the soul food thing. One of the things is too, we are meat. We are meat fanatics because in past diets, we didn't eat as much meat as we do now. Most of the places in the world, America consumes more meat than any other country or nation on the earth, which is why meat is such a big business here. And it's also a high contributor to a lot of our health problems because of the way the meat, the animals are grown and mistreated.
And processed and stuff, just like the plant-based stuff. The whole process is messed up, yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying that you can't eat meat. It's just, again, going back to what Ashanti was talking about, moderation, these types of things. We just overdo it. So we had to become a lot more balanced in our diet. And then it's okay to look for alternatives. Somebody had mentioned mushrooms. Man, I have mushroom burgers and they're off the chain. And you don't even miss the meat because they're so big, and things like this. That's what we're going to get you, Christina. We're going to get you a mushroom burger. And so
I was actually vegan for almost 2 years. It's when I got pregnant with my 7-year-old. I just wasn't being satiated, and everybody was telling me. I wish they didn't tell me that, but everybody, the doctor, everybody, you gotta eat meat. That meat is gonna make you feel right. And I was getting really ill with my 7th pregnancy. So I did it, and I went crazy. I lost my mind.
So it's going to boil down to us training our brain and making ourselves do what we don't want to do because we need to do it. And a matter of being disciplined. And that's what I'm dealing with, myself right now. Is the biggest battle you'll ever have in life is you versus you. And if you can beat you, then nobody else can beat you. Not even the devil in hell. He can't beat you either. You got the victory, and you had the victory over yourself, and you'll see it manifest in other areas of your life. And so, these are things that we just have to continuously work on. And as my sister said, take from positive people that can help you and, get further down the road on your journey. You don't need negative folks that's always trying to stop you. Stay on the positive path, listen to positive messages to reinforce, that positive thought and image, and so that you can continue to progress. People telling you can do it, not people trying to stop you from doing it. And you want to get those results. Like I said, I saw Shanti's process. Then she would be telling us, I'm at the gym. And she'd be working out. We'd be hearing in the background, oh yeah. Then she say something in Hebrew. And then be breathing hard.
Like, what the hell? What is going on back there?
Yeah.
And then as you holding that burger in your hand, you like,
hey, she was on it, man, and her commitment convicted me about my lack of commitment in certain things. I was like, I can't let her catch me not doing something. Let me go out here and be breathing hard too. So when she called me, I'm like, what you doing?
And it's not from walking to check the mail. You was actually doing something. Be like,
she's like, walking to the
I'm checking the mail.
Just jump up in the middle of the house like I'm on that old movie Flashdance and start dancing. He's a maniac.
All right, I'm gonna start it too. Shanti, all right, I'm doing it, girl. I'm gonna do it. All right.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
I'm gonna do this thing, okay?
Hallelujah. Hey, I got your number now, so I'm gonna hold you accountable. I'm gonna check in with you. I'm gonna check in with you on the messenger or the messages. Like, hey, you took a walk today. You did a couple of curls today, some burpees today. Something. You know what I mean? Did you do some scissors today? Some bicycles. You know what I'm saying?
My mind is getting right. My mind is getting right. So, where can the people reach you at? Where can they reach you?
You can get me at my channel. You can just look up in YouTube, Mr. Blacktastic. That's BLAKTASTIC. And I'll come right up. I should be the only one, unless we got some imitators out there. But Mr. Blacktastic, you can find my channel. I'm normally teaching on Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I may do some things in between there. And then, of course, Sister Christina can catch me. Here, anytime she asks me to be on, I'm probably gonna do it. And things of this sort. So you'll see me around. Hopefully, she bring me back. But like I said, I'm a teacher, preacher, soul reacher. We're gonna be doing some historical things this week. I'm gonna attack a subject probably this Thursday that should interest a lot of people. We're gonna deal with the myth of sub-Saharan Africa. And I know some folks wondering, what you mean the myth? Because we're gonna we're gonna barbecue a sacred cow, but we're gonna show the reason why and the history behind it. Okay, so Barbara, I think, he said sub-Saharan Africa. No, I'm not saying that. You have to tune in and find out exactly what I'm saying, because just like we found out tonight that certain terms like itis and other things are rooted in racism, we're going to also find out that what's been taught to us about sub-Saharan Africa and the division of Africa, that's also been rooted in some racism and some other things to try and divide and carve Africa up in a certain way to give us the wrong impression of what it really is. So we're going to talk about those things on this week for those who are interested.
Yeah, thank you again, Mr. Blacktastic, for coming. Thank you, Ashanti. Thank you for my boy, Orthodox. I appreciate you coming. I know Antoine's not here, him and the kids, because they came on the show too. So thank you guys for coming on the show. Y'all bear with him, okay? Y'all bear with him. If you guys were blessed by what you guys heard today, we appreciate all donations, whatever you can. Let's Talk Podcast 55 at Cash App. We'll appreciate any donation. We put everything towards trying to get this podcast where we need to be, whether it be advertisement, graphic designs, whatever it is. We're constantly trying to get this more of a professional look, get more speakers on and things of that nature. So if you guys love what you heard today and your heart's touched and want to bless us, we would appreciate it at Cash App Let's Talk Podcast 55. With that being said, thank you guys again for coming. You guys are always welcome. When I do some other shows, I'll make sure I send you guys the information. So if you want to come, you know, you'll have it, and just let me know, hey, Christina, this is definitely something I want to speak on. Plus, I'll probably be harassing you anyway. So, you know, like, can you come? Can you come? Can you come? What you doing? What's time? Where you at? Where you at? Thank you guys again for coming. I appreciate it. You guys like, subscribe. Y'all check out Blacktastic and Ashanti on Facebook and YouTube. And like I said before, until